Welcome to Austin Real Estate Podcast Network. A little different delivery today, but still the same. My name is Sandy Mackley. On screen with me is Jessica Licona. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the new normal, my friend.
I'll take it.
I know it's. Thank God for technology, right?
Yes. Yeah. And where, I mean, what better location than where I'm sitting at, right?
I was going to say, would you catch a last minute flight to looks like Hawaii, maybe?
Exactly. I figured, why not go and suntan while everybody else is, feeling the quarantine blues.
I know it's definitely. How are things going for you? Before we get into the real estate market and everything, are you going crazy?
I'm okay. Maybe I truly have found out that I'm an introvert.
Yeah, my wife has said that she's been preparing for this her whole life.
I think it tells a lot about yourself. I've been driving around our neighborhood. We have a little golf cart, and it's sort of our outing where we take the kids. And it's been interesting that I can look outside and see people doing their social distancing happy hour.
Yeah.
And seeing how people are, they have to be out. They have to still be talking in some form or, fashion. So how about you? How are you guys doing?
We're doing good. My world hasn't changed a whole lot. Either as my wife, we're both working homers anyway,
Right.
a little bit. And so not too much. It's tough on kids. I think they're going to get a little bit bored. They're going to realize that school's not as boring as they thought it was.
Yeah.
It's just a really weird time, but people sure are clever and creative.
It's amazing how ingenious people have come, right? We get into a bind and we figure out the next move. So
yeah, a perfect segue into the real estate market and what are your work throughs right now? How are you handling the things as they say?
Well, it's been interesting because we are sort of taking the cue from each client because everyone sort of has their own personal level of comfort. And then of course we're watching what city and county, mandates are. For the most part though, I will tell you that people are in this together. We're cooperating. I feel like in some ways it's been a little bit smoother because everyone is really, really trying to work together. So as an example, we put a listing on the market for sale the first day right out of shelter in place. And we said, this is an experiment. We don't know what's going to happen, how we might be received. So we had instructions on the door of what to do if someone did decide to tour it. Of course, Austin Board of Realtors has asked agents to please limit any and all activity where they don't have to be involved. So we prepared our sellers that, hey, I know you're working from home and you're quarantined, but would you be open to doing a FaceTime or Messenger type of video to showcase the home? We've done virtual showings. So we did a recording of the home and we of course have virtual tours and things with professional photography all set up in place. And that's how we worked it. We got an offer very quickly. Within 48 hours, we had an offer and saying they were very interested.
I'm sorry, back up just a little bit. You broke up just a little bit. Within 48 hours, what?
We had an offer on that property from doing our first virtual, tour and our virtual showing. And it's pretty cool to see. And then what we just told the folks is we still want you to come see and experience the home. So let's have them out by a set time. We'll have all the doors open and unlocked and you guys can go in. You don't have to touch anything. You don't have to open a bathroom door or, a pantry. We'll leave everything open. And they went and they saw it and they were still very pleased with it. And I think that walkthrough truly showed them, every nook and cranny that we could possibly do. So far we're working through it.
That's good. I has the fear, like when this all first started, I'm curious what your initial reaction was it, oh my gosh, this is going to be bad? Or is it like bump in the road, we'll keep grinding, we'll work through it?
That's a good question. I think we're trying to figure. I think we're still trying to figure it out second by second. In the very beginning, I still felt hopeful. I still feel very hopeful because the reality is people are still living their lives, and now more than ever, they need shelter and they need a game plan. So I feel good about it. I will say, we're still trying to understand and navigate again by city and county ordinances what is being seen as essential. And where I think it's going to really impact us is in the new construction market. I'm already seeing that we're having some pushback on closings because, meters haven't been installed on time or contractors are having to pull off. And I think it's going to depend city by city and county by county what happens.
Now, in Travis County, no construction work, no home construction, really construction of any kind, is happening right now, and I would imagine that that's going to put a stress on the market as far as inventory.
Yep. I
It's just
think
going
you're
to
right.
push things back a little bit.
I think it'll push back things. Obviously our concern is, does a client have a roof over their head? So we're coming up with game plans with them, short-term rental options, because keep in mind, we're all in this together. So the short-term rental options, from what I'm seeing, people aren't coming in for South by. They aren't coming in for the events like they were. So I'm finding there's a plethora of availability there. It's a loaded question, what you asked, but yes, I think we're going to see there's going to be delayed. Probably a delay in the production of, completing of a production home, if you will, or a new construction home. I'm curious to see how this also is going to impact buyers, because what I'm being told by lenders is this is a free market. So your rate lock might expire, 2 days after you're set to close, and now they're pushing it 30 days, for an example.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be costly potentially for a buyer. So we're looking at what's a plan A, B, and C. How costly is it if the extension is 2 weeks or 30 days? And what's the best rule of thumb to float the rate again and go back at it? So it's going to be interesting.
It almost seems like, I was talking to a friend of mine that manages people's money, and he has taken the approach, and I think it works in your world too. Right now, you need to give your clients good information.
Right.
And they have to make their decision. But your job is almost like a counselor,
Right. Well, I've always sort of felt that way anyway, because we see the good and the bad and the ugly that truly, and I don't mean that in a negative manner. I feel honored when someone opens up and lets us really know where their mind is at, because if you don't tell me what the issue is, I can't fix it, or I can't offer solutions or options. I would agree. We are doing a lot of counseling, a lot of what are your biggest fears, and then let's put plans in place. And you're right. I would love to be that problem solver and say, okay, here's exactly the plan that's going to be laid out for you with a red carpet. The reality is that everybody's responding differently. So
that's so true. The best made plans never, what's that saying? In fact, Brad Pitt said it in his acceptance speech when he won the Oscar. Tarantino said to him, that plan for the worst, expect the best, plan for the worst.
Yes.
And I think with this, and in any business, real estate, you mentioned lending, really any line of work or just life in general, I think maybe people are going to learn that if you're going to plan your life, maybe you create a little bigger margin for error. Even if it's not your error, you can self-inflicted wounds all the time, but people don't have any control over this. So maybe build some little bigger margin for error. I don't know.
The biggest thing I found myself thinking about and also telling others is just allow a little bit more grace. We're all trying to navigate this. We're all figuring it out. There's a lot of things I still am saying I'm very thankful for, right? It's been the part that I keep coming back to is sort of that social experiment of how are neighbors pulling together, how are friends pulling together. It's been really nice that our little neighborhood has been emailing out and saying, I'm going to the store, who needs collectively X, Y, and Z that you couldn't find on your last run. And it's been a really nice social experiment. I could go down the rabbit hole of all the things that have had to change. And in fact, you might hear my toddlers screaming in the background. That's life.
What are you telling your team? What are you saying? Are they, as the boss, you got to gauge their attitude, their approach, are they scared? How are you momming them?
Yeah, that's a really good question. My team and I are very hands-on. There's 5 of us that work day in and day out together. So we're on the phone, emailing, texting, whatnot throughout the day. But I have found particularly I'm doing a lot more calls with them as a team. And we're going through what are they hearing? What are they hearing clients needing? And I did find that I'm doing the same thing that I think we're all watching is every day something new develops. And so as of today, I asked my team, I said, hey, if we're going to have to exercise even more caution. So again, we have a lot of new construction that requires more walkthroughs than the normal, I'm looking at a home, I like it. They sent me a new roof invoice, so I know it's done, and boom,
Yeah.
you go to the closing table. We're having to do what's called blue tape walks, where you're putting blue tape on every aspect of the home that needs to be touched still. You're making sure that, did they say that they put in what the buyer had contracted in their design appointment? Things are needing to be a little bit more handheld with new construction.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've asked my team, I said, if we're in the phase that we have to go and that meeting is still happening, wear a mask, put on gloves, take your hand sanitizer and Clorox wipes. And if at any point maybe you go in and you look first, then you step out and the buyer goes in, just anything we can do to sort of keep that distance, and keep my team safe. But net, we're on the phone a lot. And every day I'm asking, what do you guys need? How can I help you? One of them on our team, Cody, he's been in combat in Iraq, right? He's an Army vet. And he said, this is what I've been trained for.
Yeah.
So I feel like, again, we're all in this together, and everyone's being really, really, we're just grateful that we're still, we're still alive. We're still healthy.
And you're getting offers within 48 hours.
And, business is still moving along. It's been so far so good. Yeah. It's not as fast as it was, 3 weeks prior or 3 months prior, but we're still very fortunate.
In the real estate business really is a face-to-face business. I mean, right. And I've always said, and we've talked about it, people buy from people they like.
Yeah.
And to be in front of them, there's nothing like it. But hey, when you can't do that, you got to do the best that you can. And I know you guys are doing that.
Yeah, we've actually, one of the things I asked my team is, okay, every day we're checking in with every client that has an immediate need, but we're checking with folks that we've known for decades, right? And today the biggest focus for me this morning was calling everyone I know that's in our client database of family and friends and, clients, right? Our family, as we call them. And we're asking them, I know you're on the front lines. I heard about another client that has scored 600 gloves. Do you need nitro gloves? How can we put out word on Nextdoor, or what can we do on social media for the businesses that we know are being deathly impacted with, I shouldn't say that word. They are being dramatically, they're being impacted overnight.
Yeah.
So it's been nice that we're also getting out of what, some of the day-to-day stuff and really getting into the people, leaning in where we can on that.
Yeah. And how important is it to have your online presence up to date right now? Because the traffic on real estate websites right now is through the roof. Your customers are sitting at home, they're looking online, and your stuff better be up to date.
On point.
Yeah.
We've been sending out, one of the things I've been sending out are videos to clients, personal ones. And I'm looking at myself going, okay, I don't normally look this tattered, but shower time is a premium when you have toddlers, a full-time business, your husband working opposite hours. And so we're just doing our part going, this is how we're showing up today, but we're here and we're on it.
Yeah, we can get the same job done, right? Yeah. Exactly.
Makeup or no makeup, we're still working.
Right. Well, it's always good catching up with you, and enjoy your time there on the beach.
Yeah. Next time I see you, I'm going to be blonde with a tan.
You know what? We're going to know what the funny thing about the coronavirus, we're going to know the real color of everyone's hair pretty soon.
That, and how many people rely upon a professional for manicures, pedicures, waxing, you name it.
Yeah, you're right. You forget. It's going to be an ugly world.
Yeah. It's going to be a raw world.
Here we are, people. It's going to be a rush at the nail salons and everywhere else. So thankfully, I cut my own hair.
I was going to ask you, where do you go get groomed?
Yeah, I do it all myself and save a bunch of money.
There you go.
Great. Is there anything else that you want to touch on that we didn't discuss?
I mean, there's so many topics. We'll save some stuff for when we chat again. But thank you for your time as always.
The thing is, the world's going to change every day. Tomorrow is going to be a different chapter.
That's true.
Great seeing you. Thanks for taking the time.
Good to see you. Take care.